In this video, I'm going to highlight the 15 reasons why I think the Goumi Berry plant is the best fruiting shrub you can grow. I'll share what I've learned growing it over the last 5 to 7 years. The video is going to give a quick background on the different types that we grow and their ages. Then I'll go step by step on those 15 reasons why she's the best. In conclusion, I'm going to talk about the 3 invasive species, don't get those, and I'll talk about propagation. Please check the chapter description down below. This is also Memorial Weekend. I want to pay my respects to the fallen soldiers and their families. Thank you for your sacrifice. We're going to take it up a notch. She has slightly different walls. I'm curious to know if let me get right down here. You can see that ladybug larvae. Bam! Pull the thing down like a monkey. I know 4 varieties of the Goumi Berry plant that I've been able to confirm: the sweet scarlet, the Tillamook, the red gem, and one I can't pronounce that's right there. Viewers have introduced me to other varieties, but I couldn't confirm those. This girl right here is a sweet scarlet Goumi Berry, and we purchased her in 2017 in a 3-gallon pot. We planted her in 2018 in super organic soil, and she just absolutely took off. It took a while for her to get to 10 to 12 feet tall, but she's been producing tons of fruit over the last 5 years. This is our Tillamook. She was purchased in 2022. Right now it's year 2024, and she has just absolutely taken off. So each one of these arms are just loaded like this, and she'll have about 3 major arms like this, 3 major branches. Last bit of bookkeeping, this year there's a huge disparity between the Tillamook, which is the bigger one, and the sweet scarlet berries themselves. I'm guessing the Tillamook is a young plant. She's coming onto her own, and the sweet scarlet hasn't been pruned for a couple years, and she just produced thousands of fruit, and I think the result of that is just smaller fruit. There's even a big difference in the size of the seed. That's the Tillamook there, and the sweet scarlet over there is smaller. Big fruit, big seeds. Reason number 1, that's fruit quality. The fruit has more lycopene in it than tomatoes. Lycopene is a heart-healthy nutrient. She has vitamins A, C, E, and fatty acids. So eating this girl, eating the fruit, is like eating a vitamin. Reason number 2, she bears a lot of fruit. Now, historically, she's always giving us a lot of fruit. It doesn't have like an off year, like one year it doesn't bear a lot of fruit and the next year it does. It just consistently bears a lot of fruit. The bigger the shrub, the more fruit you get. Now, she hasn't been pruned for 2 to 3 years, and she's approximately 8 years old. For such a young plant, this is a very heavy bearing fruiting shrub. Reason number 3, this girl is a nitrogen fixer. So it's got some sort of relationship of taking nitrogen out of the air and placing it into the soil. What's critical is that nitrogen is a very important fertilizer for the soil. So the fruit's super nutritious, bears a large crop of fruit, and she puts nitrogen in the soil. We're only at reason number 3. Reason number 4 is so important. I got my hair cut. Well, that's not exactly true. Reason number 4 is important. She is self-fertile. What's cool about that? Well, you need only 1 plant in order to pull off all this fruit. Reason number 5 is completely pest and disease free, and I want to put a little context to that. So in terms of pests, what you're going to have out here in some cases, mulberry and the native plums, you're going to have aphid action, and you're going to have caterpillars chewing on leaves. You'll see here that not a single leaf is bothered by an insect, no aphids. In fact, when I see a ladybug on this plant, I feel kind of sorry for her, and I give her a ride over to a native plum. Native plums definitely need the services of a ladybug. In terms of leaf spot, fungus, weird stuff like that, again, absolutely nothing is on the leaves. In terms of fruit-sucking insects, the mulberry, blackberry, and raspberry get hammered by these little insects that are on ripe fruit. No problem here. Do some birds float in and take some fruit? I do see evidence of it, like on a flat a table here and there, I will see bits of fruit with the seed. So reason number 6, she can be pruned to any shape and size. She can be hedged. She can be planted in a row, so it's like a windbreak hedge row type of thing. You can leave it alone as a single accent plant, and she got really tall. Tallest branch is, I'm sure, 12 foot tall. We got 1 or 2 of those. I need to bring that girl down. I also think pruning every 2 to 3 years will help prevent, ironically, the overfruiting that I'm pretty sure she did this year, which is the reason her fruit seemed to be about half the size they normally are. Bottom line, pruner any way you want to prune her. Reason number 7, she's adaptable to a wide variety of soils, basically any type of soil. Now, we planted her in a very rich organic soil. This is evidence here that the Goumi Berry plant just thrives in organic soil. But what versatility with soil means is that you could also use a plant like this in a reclamation type project, because she's going to introduce, by nature, she can introduce nitrogen into the soil. Clay soil, rocky soil, funky soil. She can handle soil that's not rich in nutrients and then actually add nutrients back to the soil. The overall versatility of this plant is reason number 8. So she prefers full sun, but she can adapt to part sun. She prefers high organic soil, but can adapt to not so good soil. She will thrive if given water, but is drought tolerant. You can prune her to any shape. Bears heavy crops. Nice, thick trunk system. I just don't know of another plant that gives a gardener all these different options. The soil, the light, pruning at any time, tolerance, pest disease free. It's just an incredibly versatile plant. Reason number 9 is that this girl is super sturdy. You are not going to knock this thing over. Another reason it makes for a perfect hedge, a fruiting hedge. But you see the multi-trunk system from this plant, and she will continue kind of growing these branches from down lower, and she just gets kind of thicker and thicker. When I prune this girl, which is another topic, but when I do prune her, I'm going to be thinning out the center of her, but I won't be thinning out these thick trunks in here. Look at this multi-trunk system. She's not going anywhere. Reason number 10, she's got really strong branches. So I got this kind of visual here so you can see how these branches do have a little bit of sag when they're full of fruit. You see them bending down, but normally this girl is in a vase type arrangement, a vase type shape. Okay, so multi-trunk down here at the base and just branches going relatively straight up in the air. But if they do get full of fruit, you'll get that curl, and she'll curl down a bit, but these branches don't break. Strong branches, no support needed. Love it. She's extraordinarily drought tolerant. Now, caveat, we did plant her in some very high organic soil, but I'm telling you, after she got established 1-2 years into it, this is the very last plant I have to be concerned about. It's the last plant I need to water, if I need to water it at all. Reason number 12 is that it's very easy to propagate by seed. I just completed a 4-year-long experiment sowing seeds from this girl from a 2020 video. I'm putting that video together about lessons we learned in propagating this girl by seed. I can tell you this, when you plant seeds around the mama plant as we did, all I can do is speak to what we did. The seeds will sprout the following spring, and you'll get a very little seedling. You up pot them. 20% of those seedlings went really fast, grew really fast. 20% of them didn't. The rest of them are kind of down the line. 1 or 2 of them didn't make it. It's super prolific germination rate, the seeds, and the growth on these girls are really fantastic. In that experiment, by the way, I had 2 plants. It took 4 years, maybe I potted about 50 of them. And 4 years later, 2 plants had flowered just this year, by the way. But then propagating something by seed isn't necessarily, I don't think she's true to seed. That's another swim lane that I am not going down right now. She's very easy to propagate by seed. That's the bottom line. Wildlife friendly. So I got you next to a medlar, and I got you next to the mama plant over here, the sweet scarlet goumi. And over the last few years, we've had birds nesting in both trees, and that's the reason I have this wildlife friendly chestnut. Now, if this sweet scarlet goumi was a hedge, it would be a bird haven. Also, when the birds nest in here, the chicks will develop and fly out of the nest, like literally like right now, this time of year, when you can start picking. You may not want to pick the fruit from below the nest, but there's so much fruit all around this plant. There's plenty of fruit for us, and we have a plant to share with the wildlife. So reason number 14, she is a very fragrant plant when she's in bloom. This whole thing will be absolutely covered with yellow flowers, and for like a couple of weeks or so, you're gonna get this sweet floral waft smell in the air coming off of just this one plant. It's a fun thing to see in early spring, to see the emergence of new growth and to smell your fruiting plants. Last but not least, reason number 15, the blooms are totally frost tolerant. So she'll bloom super early in spring, and it's still cold out here. I'm gonna be in a sweatshirt. Some days I'll be out in a jacket. This thing will be loaded with blooms, and this is testimony that the frost has no effect on the flowers and then the subsequent fruit production. There's so much phony baloney on YouTube and the internet about the best and the greatest and blah, 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 blah. If you can find another fruiting shrub that has 16 reasons that it's the best, I would love to know about it. Let me know about it in the comments. Otherwise, I am officially deeming the Goumi Berry plant as the best fruiting shrub you can grow. The Goumi Berry plant is this species right here. It has 3 cousins that are full-blown invasives, and I've seen them sold at nurseries. Russian olive, thorny olive, autumn olive. I'm sure that they have other common names, so you want to identify these 3 species names as a no-go, please. In the wrong location, these invasives have done some real damage. I touch on it on my web page, so folks have the information that I think they need in order to make an educated purchase. You want to stick with the Goumi Berry plant, and it's this species name. That's what you want to stick with. So in terms of propagation, you propagate by seed, by cuttings, and I have read that you can do it by layering. The key with propagation by seed is that you're not going to get a clone. I'm pretty sure you're not going to get a clone of the mama plant. You're going to get something very, very similar. Whereas if you do a cutting, which can be hardwood or softwood cutting, you will get a clone. And if you do the layering, you're going to get a clone. We sowed seeds in 2020. That would be in June 2020. The seedlings came out of the ground the following spring. We potted them in 2021. Some seedlings grew very quick, some seedlings did not. Bulk of them went down the middle. We really didn't take care of those seedlings in any way, shape, or the potted seedlings. We didn't take care of them really much at all because I don't want to be a nursery. The best seedlings that were up potted to a 3-gallon pot, 2 of them flowered 4 years later. So that's my best feedback in terms of how long, I get these questions like, how old is it or how long does it take to fruit? Well, it just depends. It depends on the vigor of the seedling. It depends on the soil that you put it in. It just depends on things. In terms of cuttings, hardwood, softwood, I don't have any experience with cuttings. Cuttings, in my estimation, I just don't have the bandwidth for it. It's sort of a pain in the butt. It's easy to do, but you need to keep those cuttings moist all the time. And I have read that it takes upwards of a year before those cuttings start rooting. I believe Todd over at Great Escape Farms, if I remember what he told me, if I remember it correctly, about 50% of them rooted and about 50% didn't. So there is a high success rate, sort of, with cuttings. If you do a whole bunch of cuttings, you're gonna get a 50% of them are going to turn into Goumi berry plants, and that's pretty cool. The Tillamook would really be worth experimenting with. In terms of soil layering, now I love soil layering, and that's something really I should be trying out here, but I haven't. So it's something I got to look into. I don't have any good feedback in terms of soil layering, but I got a feeling if cuttings take months and months and months to generate roots, the air layering probably, or soil layering, will probably take just as much amount of time. But soil layering is very convenient to do, because you just get that branch down in the soil, dig it into the soil a little ways, and put 1-2 bricks on top of that branch, leave a little branch sticking out of the ground so it's got a little someplace to grow out to, and underneath that brick, if you're lucky, after about 12 months, you're going to have a root system. Well, I hope I convinced you to try growing a Goumi berry plant. And if I was to do it all over again, I would really go towards the Tillamook, except the Tillamook is a very, very difficult variety to find. The red gem may be a good variety, and the one that has this name right here, I think I read that it's kind of shorter, but I don't know about fruit size. Ultimately, you cannot go wrong with the sweet Scarlet Goumi. You cannot go wrong with using it in a multitude of multiple different ways. I just listed 15 reasons why I truly believe this is the best fruiting shrub that you can grow. Take care of yourself. Take care of someone else if you can. Love you. Bye.